The secret to clean vocals is probably not what you think it is. There's a lot more to it than just throwing on an EQ and calling it a day. If you stick around to the end of this video, you're pretty much guaranteed to learn something new to fix your bad vocals. So if you want to easily fix your vocals and make them sound 10 times cleaner, then you don't want to miss this. This first point will make you understand vocals in a way you've never thought of before. If you've been making music for a while, there's a chance you've heard of the term formant shifting. I honestly had no clue what this was for a while, but once I understood what it was and what it does, it made mixing so much easier. So every vocal consists of something called formants. These are basically groups of frequencies that shape the sound of a vocal. There are 3 main vocal formants labeled F1, F2, and F3. Each formant is associated with certain vowel sounds and different tones. F1 can exist anywhere from 300 to 900 hertz. This is usually associated with a full and warm sound because it's in the lower end, and boosting this can make the vocal sound more full. But overdoing it will make the vocal sound muddy. The F2 formant exists in the 850 to 2500 hertz range. It significantly influences the tonal quality of vowels. Boosting the F2 formant can help to clarify vocals and make certain vowels sound easier to understand. The F3 formant exists anywhere from 1700 to 3500 hertz. This is typically associated with how bright the vocal sounds, but boosting the F3 formant too much will cause the vocal to sound harsh, so make sure not to overdo this as well. There's so much more to it than just that though. Drop a comment if you'd like me to make a more in-depth video on this, because there's just so much to cover. Now that you've got a grip on vocal tone, let's talk about a lesser known mixing trick. This is something I rarely hear talked about. I'm sure you've heard of serial compression before, but have you ever heard of serial EQ? Serial EQ is basically just taking 2 EQs, each assigned to a different task. This prevents one single EQ from being overworked and rather splits the job into 2 separate EQs. One way to do this is to add a subtractive EQ first and take away any bad frequencies that you don't want in your vocal, such as frequencies that make it sound harsh, tinny, or muddy. Then after that, you can add a second EQ that boosts the frequencies you do want. If you were to try to accomplish this with one EQ, it would probably look something like this. Not only is that just kind of inefficient and hard to do, but it also can overwork your EQ. So splitting the task between 2 EQs is usually the way to do it. So a lot of times I've seen people with great vocals, good recording, and they still struggle to stand out in the mix. This isn't because your vocals are bad, but it's because you just need more of them. Recording doubles and harmonies is a great way to thicken up your vocals. Basically, all you need to do is record a second version of your lead vocal on top of the lead vocal. But you want to avoid copying and pasting the lead vocal and just duplicating it, because that doesn't work. The reason that doubles work is because the small fluctuations in pitch, frequency, and timing, they push the vocal out farther into the stereo field and also fill up more frequencies, and this causes it to just sound thicker. If you were to just duplicate the lead vocal on top of itself, the phase would actually just boost each other, and all it would do is make it louder. It wouldn't change anything else. So yeah, learn how to record doubles. So this last point is something that really frustrates a lot of people, and I've experienced it myself. I used to have this problem where I would literally mix a song for hours on end and still not be happy with the product. Once I figured out why, it literally changed everything. See, most people spend about 80% of their time mixing correcting mistakes in the recording. The less time you spend correcting mistakes, the more time you can spend on the important stuff. That's why having a clean vocal recording to start out with is crucial. When you have a clean recording, you spend a lot less time fixing mistakes and working on the things that enhance your vocals, creative effects, stuff like that. It allows you to experiment with different styles that way, rather than just having a system that you follow every time. Learning how to properly record vocals is more than half the work. This honestly will save you the most time in the long run. There's so much to cover on how to record clean vocals in the first place, and honestly, all the mixing tips online and even the tips I gave you today are completely useless if you don't have a clean recording to start with. So luckily for you, I made a video talking about different ways you can improve your vocal recordings and get a much cleaner sound. You can check that out here.